Okay, good morning, everybody. I'm so happy you all got up. I know it's a little bit later for some of you. For me, it's 5:30, and it was tough to get up at 4:50 this morning, but we did it and we're here. And this is the difference between people who do change their lives and the people that don't. It's the people that do get up, they do the hard things even when they don't feel like it. So I'm so stinking proud of all of you guys for showing up today. So how many people looked at their goal list from yesterday after the fact or even during and thought, like, I'm crazy for thinking that I can do this? Like, who thought that? Or how many people like felt that fear, like, oh my God, like that scary feeling, even though it would be so awesome to have all those things, sometimes it's scary to think about the responsibility that's going to come with achieving those goals. Um, and then how many of you had that voice in the back of your head telling you that you're not good enough, you're not worthy, that there's no way that you could possibly achieve that? Like, how many people had that voice? I want you to pop it in the chat. Don't be afraid to get in the chat. Pop it in the chat if you had any of those feelings of or that little voice talking to you. And I want you to know that you're not alone in those thoughts. Like, it's so stinking normal to have those thoughts. And you know, that little voice is the number one reason why people never actually go after their goals and never get past writing out their goals. I know so many people who write their goal list, they get that first step down where they're like, hey, I'm clear on what I want, but they can't seem to get past that fear, those voices telling them that they're not worthy enough. And the crazy thing is that we are the ones that have created that doubt. How stupid is that? Like, it's ourselves that have created that doubt, and it's ourselves that are holding ourselves back from doing what it is we want to do. And when we continue to say those same words over and over, you're not worthy, you're not good enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not smart enough. When we say those words over and over and over, it becomes a skill. Repetition is the mother of skill. When you repeat something over and over and over, you become really freaking good at it. So, guess what? We've become really good at holding ourselves back and basically making ourselves feel like crap about ourselves. Um, so, now that we're aware of that, and I want to do a little, actually, we're going to do that after. Okay, we'll do that after. So, anyways, that's all that we know. And when you can become aware of what these are called our self-limiting beliefs, um, and realize that it's actually just a pattern and a habit that we've created instead of being the truth. And again, that's where we get lost. We think that those things are the truth. We think that that's the way that it is. Maybe we grew up being poor, so we think that that's the way our life should be always because we grew up that way. We saw our mom, we saw our dad, we saw our grandparents struggle. So we think, okay, well, that must be my life. I should probably have to struggle because that's the way that it's always been. And we've created this pattern of keeping ourselves in this box and with this ceiling over our head that we can't seem to break through because we don't know how. This is an exercise that we're going to do. It's going to teach you how to break out of that. And that's another reason why people fail is because they don't properly assess where they're at this exact time. You have these goals, you wrote them all down yesterday, but do you know where you're at mindset wise right now? Do you know all the roadblocks? Because if you don't know the roadblocks, how are you supposed to know when they're coming up and how to get over them if you're not even aware? So let's get real with ourselves right now, you guys. I want you to take a minute, take a breath, and think to yourself that you're going to be as real and vulnerable as possible with yourself, even if it's something that like kind of hurts when you have to say it out loud. I know that my self-limiting beliefs make me like very uncomfortable because even when I say them out loud, I know that they're ridiculous, but it's actually how I feel. It's actually things that are holding me back. And you guys, I believe that we were put on this planet to grow and to learn. And there have been so many factors, especially in our society nowadays, with, the false representation of what beauty should be, of what success should be. And we have all these things that make us feel that we're not good enough, and make us feel that we actually can't have all these things, and that we need to find our purpose to be happy. But that's not true. That is the furthest thing from the truth. We are all capable of having what we want. We're all capable of being happy, and we're all capable of getting past the outside forces that are trying to keep us and hold us down. So, we're going to start out right now. So, grab your pen and paper, and I want you guys to really think about your self-limiting beliefs. So, what are the things that you think about yourself that you know are holding you back? And I'm going to share mine with you after. One of the things that, um, when I very, very first started with this business was it's still a self limiting belief that I have to get through all the time. I was like, I had to do a live yesterday. Okay, so rewind. The belief is that everything that I say is stupid, and that nobody can understand what I say because I mix my words up. Like, I have this self-limiting belief that I am the worst speaker and that everybody thinks I'm stupid. I know that sounds crazy, but like, it's held me back. It held me back so much at the beginning. I didn't start doing live videos until like a year after they were already a thing. That is so stupid because so many people capitalized on live videos, because at that time that's how people were streaming loyal customers and distributors into their team. And that held me back because I just didn't think I could do it. So, anyways, that's just an example. I want you guys to write down 10 limiting beliefs that you have that you know are holding yourself back, maybe like in the business, but maybe in your personal life too. Like, maybe you want to get healthy. Maybe you want to be super fit and healthy, but you are so afraid to go to the gym because you don't know, you're afraid of looking stupid. That was me at one point in time too. So, anyways, write down 10. We're going to take a minute. This exercise always almost makes me cry because it makes me so like, oh, Karina, like, I look at myself from the outside, and if I was like my friend or somebody that loves like my friend or family looking at the things that I think about myself, sometimes it's like, wow, that's not good. Just comment done when you're done in the chat, and then I'll know if you guys need more time or if you're all going at a good pace. Thanks, Jen. Okay, I'll just give you guys a few more seconds. Like I said, pop it done in the chat if you're done. Done. Okay, I'm just gonna go on ahead here. So I'll read you guys a couple of mine. Like I could keep going, but these are just a few of mine. So, everybody hates me. I can't speak properly. I'm not meant for success. I have nothing to offer. I have no talents. My anxiety controls me. I'm not worthy. I'm not pretty enough. I always procrastinate. I never finish anything. Those are just like some. And, the thing is, I know for the longest time, I always thought that people who were super successful, like I would look at these women, especially when I got into this business, I would look at these women who were like insanely successful and just like absolutely rocking it. And I always thought that they didn't have these kinds of beliefs. I'm like, God, it must be so nice to be so confident in everything you do and just be able to like get past all these things. And I remember I earned a spot to a leadership training in Spain, and which is so crazy because I remember going to Spain and I had imposter syndrome, and I was like, I don't deserve this. Like, how did I even do this? And I had those thoughts going in my head, like I felt like I didn't deserve it. Like it must have happened on a fluke. And then I got around all of these really high achieving women, and they all said the exact same thing. And I remember being mind blown. I was like, what? This girl thinks she's not good looking enough to show her face on social media. Like, what? Like, they all think the same kind of thing. They didn't think they were worthy, that they could, that they felt that they weren't meant to be there either. But the difference with them was I was dwelling on it, where they realized that they were having these feelings and they embraced it and moved forward anyways. And we'll talk about that in a second, but that just like blew my mind when I heard that wasn't just me that felt that way. So I want you all to look at your list, and we're going to keep your pen out because we're going to do something different. So obviously, like, who felt something when you were writing down those beliefs where you're like, oh my God, this is terrible. Like, it's not a good feeling to write it out loud. So what we're going to do now is take each belief that you wrote down and either write beside it or on another piece of paper. I want you to take that disempowering belief and turn it and write it in an into an empowering belief. Oh Lord. So, for example, I wrote, I have nothing to offer. So instead, I'm going to write, my growth allows me to offer inspiration to others. Everyone hates me. I'm going to write, I'm a freaking badass. One of mine too, one of my self-limiting beliefs was nothing good ever happens to me. I had that one for so long because, again, outside forces of life we can't control. And the thing is, I think there's a statistic. It's like every 3 or 6 months, maybe it's 6 months. I don't know if you guys know this one, but every 6 months, let's just say 6, something life 6 to 9 months. Jessica, I knew you'd know that. Something life-changing and drastic happens in people's lives. Something traumatic happens in life or life-changing. So that's the thing is, we can say that life happens to us, or we can look at it and say life happens for us. And again, we're put here to learn and grow. And yes, crappy things happen to us, to our family members, but we can either embrace it and move forward, or we can sit there and dwell and waste precious time that we have on this earth. So I want you guys to turn all of your disempowering beliefs into empowering beliefs right now. And then when you're done, if you could just pop in the chat and share 1 or 2 of them, what your disempowering belief was and what your empowering was, that would be awesome. you guys are stuck and like, you're like, I don't even know how to turn this into a empowering belief, pop it in the chat and then I can help. Because I know sometimes I get stuck on things too. Love that, Crystal. When I talk, it don't make sense. Turns into people can relate to the things I say and they find me inspiring. I love that. Oh, that's a good one. Pop done in the chat if you're done. I excel. I love that. I'm not consistent and won't succeed. I don't know anyone who is successful in all areas. So why should I be that person? I can be consistent and achieve anything when I keep moving forward. Yes. Alicia, I suck at everything. I excel when I put my mind to it. Yes. I always struggle. I'm abundant and learn through the obstacles. Yes. I love that because it's real, right? Because we will struggle, but it's what we do with that struggle and it's what we do when the struggles come up. Do we fall and dwell and continue to stay negative, or do we learn and push forward? I love that. Oh, you guys, good job. I know for the one I put for I'm not worthy, I wrote I'm meant to live the highest quality of life. And when I wrote that, I was like, fuck yeah. How many people felt like when you were writing out your empowering beliefs, how many felt so much different than writing down those disempowering beliefs? Like, it's crazy what our words can do to our mind, or and like how it can affect our outside world. Like what we feel on the inside is what happens on our outside world. Our inner world creates our outer world. So if we're always like feeling like we're running on a hamster wheel, like in the negative, and thinking that we need to do all these things, or thinking that we're not meant for success, or that we're struggling, and keep saying like, oh, I'm struggling to find what I'm meant to do. And me and Jessica were just talking about this the other day, and we both said it, and afterwards it's like, God, like no wonder we both were struggling at one point, because like we kept saying it over and over. We're struggling. If you keep saying it, that's what's gonna happen. And that's what becoming aware of what your self-limiting beliefs is, why it's so important, because you truly need to become so sensitive about what comes out of your mouth. Like I was telling you guys before, when I was sitting around with those friends that I hadn't seen in so long, and hearing, like, now that I am at a certain stage of growth that I am, even from a year ago, hearing the things that were coming out of their mouths, I was like, oh my God, like, we have to be so careful with what we say, because it truly, words affect what is going on in our outside world. So okay, I want to do this little exercise, and if you guys have been on Tony Robbins' Unleash the Power Within, or if you've been on Carissa Kuchas's trainings, sorry, oh my gosh, can't get the words out, then you'll know this one, but just do it along with me anyways. So I want you guys to hold your hands out this far apart. Okay, hold your hands out, and then I want you to interlock your fingers, and then keep doing it. Do it again. Keep doing it. I want everybody to be doing it. See a couple people on Zoom not doing it. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now stop. So I want you to do it one more time, but notice what thumb goes over top of the other thumb. Did the same thumb go over top every single time? Probably, right? So now I want you guys to do it and be aware of putting the other thumb on top. Feels weird, right? Like it feels different, but it's because our brain has created that pattern that's the way that we're supposed to do it. It's not wrong to do it the other way, but our brain has created that pattern that's the way that we do it. So if we can do something like that, where we're not even aware, it's a subconscious thing that we're doing, what do you think that you do on the daily with your thoughts about yourself and about your life? You subconsciously have a pattern that started from when you were a young kid. And this is why, for me, like, now that Indies get, like, I have a daughter now, it is so important to me to not teach her the way that I was taught. And I mean, we can't sit here and blame our parents for anything, because they didn't know. And, this day and age, there are so many resources to self-development that there never was. The internet has so many ways for us to learn and grow, and we have all these groups and Zooms and stuff now. So anyways, you can't sit here and be like, oh my God, my parents should have taught me different. I'm like, no, you're learning now. And anyways, now that the saying, if you know better, do better. And now that we do know better, that is something like I want to teach Indies. Like, it's okay to step outside your comfort zone. It's okay. And especially like with moms, if you're uncomfortable, I remember telling my mom, like, I don't want to go do this and I don't want to go do that, even though it was things that would have pushed me outside my comfort zone and would have made me better. Your mom is always going to be the one who's like, it's okay, sweetie, like, just come back into the comfort zone. And we do that to ourselves. Our brain does that to ourselves. We start to feel uncomfortable, things start to feel a little bit weird, and our brain is like, okay, honey, like, get back into your comfort zone, do what you know. And that's not the way that you're going to grow. Especially if you're somebody in this business who wants to make the big money, who wants to, make $2,000 to $5,000 a month, but you're too scared to pull out a chart, your Ruby chart, even because you don't know how to do it, or because you don't know and it's uncomfortable, or you're too scared to send out messages, or whatever it is. Your fear, what your fear is. We all have one in this business. Okay. Every single one of us, even the top enrollers and top high achieving people in this company, we all have that fear. But if you keep going back into your comfort zone and going back into your pattern and keeping in your belief system, you're going to stay in that same spot forever. If you keep letting these belief systems and these patterns that your brain has gotten you into forever, you're going to stay there forever. And the thing is, and this is why it is so important, and I am a prime example of why this is so important, is making sure that you are doing your self-development and growing yourself every single day. Getting into a routine of what you do in a day for your self-development. For me, like my routine, I've been listening to these podcasts about getting a morning routine, and that has been like my goal, is to get a morning routine back. Because when I was making 30 grand a month with this business, you best believe I had a morning routine that I did not skip. I did not miss. It didn't matter if I was too tired, or if I had a bad night the night before, or me and my spouse were fighting, or whatever it was. I was up and doing my morning routine every day, because guess what? Your depression doesn't take a day off. Your anxiety doesn't take a day off just because you're feeling like you had a bad day. All of those self-limiting beliefs, the devil, whatever you want to call it, the things that are trying to hold you back from having an abundant and incredible life, they don't take a day off. So when you start to get into a habit of, like for example, for me, I had a morning routine. I was killing it, and I felt the best I've ever felt mindset wise, all of that. And then I fell off and I stopped, and I went back into my comfort zone. I started listening to my self-limiting beliefs again, and I went right back to square one. I went right back to where I was before I even started this business. And I was even more depressed than I was before, because I knew what I was capable of. That was the hardest part. I knew I could do it, but I wasn't doing it. I just wasn't doing it. Like plain and simple, I wasn't doing it. So that's why it's so important to do this all the time. Like, don't just get on these Zooms once in a while and then think that that's good. Like, this is something every single day, writing your goals down, training yourself. Because again, remember what I said, the mother of skill is repetition. So if you can train yourself to not believe in yourself, and if you can train yourself to struggle, which is essentially what you're doing, if you can train yourself to do that, you can train yourself to do the opposite and to become skilled at attracting the best things in your life and creating patterns that actually serve you and your life and your family. So like I said, get real with your self-limiting beliefs. And now that you know it, you guys, there's a difference between knowing and executing. There's a difference between knowing what you need to do and knowing what it is and actually taking the action. So now that you know, you have to become so aware of when these things start sliding into your life. So, let's say we get off this Zoom and you're feeling pumped and you're like, yes. And then, you go outside and your car is broken down. Okay. Hopefully that doesn't speak into existence for any of you, but let's just say that you have to go to work and your car is broken down. And then you immediately sit there and think, oh, my life sucks. Like, obviously this would happen to me because this is just something that happens. I hear people say that all the time. They're like, oh, that would happen to me. That stuff happens to me all the time. That right there is a self-limiting belief that you have to nip in the bud right now. So, and it can be hard, especially if we are trained and used to having those kinds of those kinds of thoughts, because it makes us feel better. It makes us feel like, okay, you know, this just happens to me. It's just the way my life is. I feel better. I've lived my entire life saying that. I always say God throws me this stuff because he thinks I have a sense of humor. Yeah. And it's like, that's so awesome, Jess, that you become aware of that, because like, you're so funny because you're like trying to find the humor in it. But at the same time, it's still a limiting belief that you're literally attracting that kind of stuff to happen to you. So, like I said, the difference between that is knowing and exiting and not running from the fear. We all have the fear, and it's whether you go back into your old self, you know, because that's essentially what you're doing. We're here to grow into a new person all the time for the better. So you're going to have these things come up. You're going to have these fears and these beliefs come up, and you can either make the choice to shrink back into your comfort zone and have your, you know, your mom saying like, it's okay, honey, come back. It's fine over here. You know what you're doing. You can either shrink back, or you can see the fear and think, okay, you mother effer, let's do this. And you can put your arms around that fear and push forward anyways. And that's where you're going to see growth. And the thing is, it's so hard at first. And this is why most people will never get past this part, because it is hard at first. Learning any new skill is hard at first. If I were to pick up a guitar right now and tried to play guitar, would not be good. You guys would all leave. So, but if I kept doing it over and over and repeated and learned that skill, I'm going to be damn good at it. This is the same thing. You have to think of embracing your fear and moving forward as a skill, and you just have to train yourself. So this is what I want you guys to do, is write this on sticky notes. Actually, this is your guys' homework, okay? I get ahead of myself sometimes. Okay, your homework is to write your empowering beliefs, not your disempowering. Forget about those, but take your empowering beliefs. And if you don't necessarily like what you wrote, and you're like, I could come up with something better, go onto Google and say, what is the empowering belief of I'm not worthy? And find something that you like that speaks to you, where you're like, frick yeah, Google is amazing for everything. So write your empowering beliefs on sticky notes and put them on your wall. Yes, girl, Melissa, my girl. So put them on your wall. Personally, like I haven't even done this yet, you guys. I'm doing this all with you right now. So, and I did this when I promoted. Every single time I promoted, when I went diamond, when I went triple, when I went presidential, I had my sticky notes everywhere. Okay. So write your empowering beliefs on sticky notes, put them on your wall. I'm going to personally put them on my bathroom wall, because what I'm going to do every single morning, and I challenge you guys to do this too, is when you go in and brush your teeth or whatever you're doing in the morning, read them and say them out loud to yourself, and say them with excitement. And so that's your very, very first homework. And then the second is, again, this is like something you have to mentally do, is to be aware of the patterns that aren't serving you. Like, get aware of the patterns that you're doing that are not serving you. Are you the kind of person who, like, if something freaks you out, you're like, I'm just going to go and like do my laundry instead of doing that thing that scares you? Like, you know, you need to send those messages, but you're like, oh, the laundry needs to be done, and like the fridge needs to be, and you like do that, and you just go and do something else. Like, that's a pattern right there. You're literally avoiding the work, and you're avoiding the things that you know that need to be done. And this can be in your personal life. Like, that's one of my self-limiting beliefs that I wrote down, was I always procrastinate. So I wrote down, I get shit done right away and feel at peace knowing I'm on top of things. So that's one of my self-limiting beliefs and empowering beliefs that I'm going to be telling myself every single day, because I do that with like just stupid stuff in my home. So get on top of your patterns that aren't serving you. Okay. So this is our last thing that we're going to do, because what we did yesterday, writing down our goals, you need to do that every single day. So we're going to quickly do that. So write down your goals. I want you to write down 3 goals for the day that you want to do for yourself, and for your, just for yourself. whatever it is, 3 goals that you want to get done today. And then I want you to write down as many goals as we can in the next 5 minutes. Let's do 10 minutes. And I want you to write them in the way, I know some of you weren't here yesterday, but we're going to write them as gratitude affirmations. So your goal as gratitude affirmations. So I keep using this as an example because it's one of mine, but I am so thankful for my house that I own on the lake. I'm so grateful for the $2,000 monthly income I receive from It Works. So write your goals as affirmations as if they already have happened. And again, don't let like whatever outside forces that are happening right at this moment, like I can't afford a lake house right this second. So I'm still going to write out that I'm thankful for it, even though right now I can't have it right this second. If I'm telling the universe like that I am ready for this, then it's going to realign everything and give me what I want. And it's going to do that for you too. So, and we're going to talk about gratitude tomorrow, but being grateful for what you have is a key to the law of attraction. One of my goals is I want to get up to 10,000 followers on Instagram. So I'm writing, I'm so grateful for my 10,000 followers. And when I write that, it makes me excited to like get work done today. Cause I'm like, yes, I can do this. I got this. Okay, one more minute, guys. Okay, if anybody wants to share any of their goals that they put down, you can. That would be awesome. A couple of mine. I'm so grateful for my discipline and unbreakable mindset. I'm grateful for the adventures I go on with Indy. I am so grateful for my beautiful home. So what I am personally going to go do, because you guys, I'm obsessed with manifesting my success right now. And I'm going to stay obsessed with it. So what I'm going to do is go out tomorrow, because that's when Indy's in daycare and I have time. I'm going to go out and find, I actually have it on my Pinterest saved already, and I'm printing off a picture of my dream home. I'm printing off this picture of like a mom and daughter. They're like standing on this mountaintop and they're like hiking and stuff, because that's like really important to me. I want to do all these adventures with my daughter. And I just have other things that I have printed that I'm going to print out, and I am going to just glue them on a poster board for my dream board. I've done dream boards before, but I always found that I never really got into them because I was looking in like magazines, and it seemed like such a, like, Jess, you know what I'm talking about. Like, it was just so much like like it was time consuming. So I only have a couple pictures. It's not going to be like a huge mess of stuff. It's a couple of pictures of what is really, really important to me. I've got a girl with like this fit body on there, and I'm going to post it on a poster board, and that's going to be posted in my kitchen so that I look at it every single day, because you guys are going to read about this time and time again, that every high achieving person that has achieved all the things that they want in their life has made a vision board, or has had some sort of reminder to them every single day of what their goals are. Yeah, and in magazines you can't find the right pictures. Yes, like that's why I'm saying like dream boards, like dream board parties are awesome. They're so much fun. But if you truly want to have like what your vision board, you got to find exactly what you want. It can't be just something that you're like, oh, that would be nice. It's something that you want real bad, and have that in front of you every single day. So last thing, I want you guys to take a step back today and again, notice what your patterns are, become so aware of your patterns, become sensitive about the things that you're saying. Like, everything that comes out of your mouth, analyze it. What are you saying? Because you need to train yourself. And this is going to be the hardest part. And this is why a lot of people don't get past it. But every single person in here is going to get past it. Because I shouldn't say that. There are people who don't get past it, but there are more successful people in this world than you think. And there is room at the table for you. There is room for you to be successful too. So become aware of that. And I also want you to take a step back and look at what you need to work on. What do you need to work on to be successful, to get what you want in life? If you're that person who's procrastinating, train yourself to change that. Become proactive. If you're like, God, I don't even know where to start, get on Google or Pinterest or search it on YouTube. Become proactive. Don't just sit there and think, oh, I'm not really sure how to start. Become proactive and gain the knowledge yourself. You don't need to, like, that. A confused mind says no. So if you're sitting there confused, figure it out. You guys are all so stinking smart. You can figure this out. And then the last thing is to raise your standards of who you are and who you want to be. Instead of like thinking like, hey, I just want to make enough money to pay my bills and pay my debt off, like raise your standard as a human being, that you are a high achieving person, that you don't even have to think about your bills because you always have an abundance of money. Raise your standards of who you are. Instead of, you know, if you're somebody who wants to lose weight, instead of saying like, oh, I just need to lose 10 pounds, instead raise your standards as that you are wanting, or you are turning into somebody who is health conscious and cares about their body and wants to change who they are as a person. Because if you just want to lose 10 pounds, that's so easy to say, I want to lose 10 pounds. But there is a lifestyle change that comes with that. You have to change your lifestyle. So you have to grow into a standard of person who is a healthy person. Because if you want to lose 10 pounds, but you don't change who you are and you don't change your lifestyle and you lose that 10 pounds and then you continue to eat like shit and not exercise, then that 10 pounds is going to come back. You have to raise your standards of who you are as a person. And that goes with any of your goals that you know are going to be hard to get, or that you're going to have to change stuff in your life to get. If you're somebody who wants to make more money, you have to raise your standards as somebody who's a hardworking person, instead of saying like, okay, I'm going to send 10 messages today and then I don't hear from you for a week. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to be that person who raises your standards for yourself and who you are. So be aware of that today, you guys, because you are all worthy and capable of having anything that you want. All those goals that you wrote down, they are already yours, and know that in your heart. You know, if you want to go diamond, you're already diamond. You want that lake house, you already got it. It's yours. It's waiting for you. The universe has just been like sitting here waiting for you to finally be freaking ready, instead of continue to say that would be nice and closing it off. So let's do this. We're going to be doing this every single day for this week. And then I hope that that will get you in a role to take that into the rest of your life. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for hopping on. And oh, one last thing. I want to see pictures of your sticky notes on your wall. So if you guys can post those into Fearless and the Leaders Made Here group, if you can post in both groups and show people, that's going to inspire other people to do the same thing. And that's what we want. We want more people growing into better versions of themselves. Okay, guys, love you. Have a good rest of your day.